All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
And I sense that you could do this if you're in a relationship or with a narcissist. You could do this exact same framework.
Well, yeah, but absolutely. You need to, with the narcissist outside. And this is the thing that really kind of got me, because once I realized that the inner critic is actually the voice of the narcissist, it ticks every single box. I was like, why are they telling us to take this thing to therapy and to send it love when that's absolutely the thing not to do with a narcissist out there, because they
It
manipulate,
just keeps feeding it. Yes.
yeah, exactly. You feed it. They love it. They're like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, yes, we're getting more juicy energy out of this," you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. You feed the thing. So, and then there are spiritual people who say, sit down, feel the shame. But like I said, this is bad advice, because shame, it's not normal emotion. It's under anger, you find something else. You know, you find fear, you find sadness, you find something else. But shame, it's just a bottomless pit of shame. I know, because I spent 30, 40 years digging, feeling the shame every day. And guess where it got me? Suicidal, feeling like I wanted to not be here anymore, you know? So sitting with the shame is not the way to go. You've got to cut off that power supply. It is a parasite, you know. Imagine if you have like a parasite in your body that's feeding off you. You don't send it love or try to therapize it and feel, oh, the poor thing. You know, flush that thing out. You flush that thing out. Goodbye. So why are we trying to, you know, send love to this thing it's not you, and it's not your friend, it's not your teacher, and it's not your guide, it's not your intuition, it's not your inner wisdom. It is trying to destroy you. And once you realize that, you take your power back from that thing, and it cannot control you. It relies, it's like a light bulb. It needs you to power it up. Without you, it's nothing.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, something that when you're talking about the break, and realizing you talk about like the kind of the energy or the emotion that comes around it, because it's usually serving someone else, right? Like it's something that's going to satisfy or fulfill someone else's emotional need. And I feel like that's such an easy way to kind of tap into it when you see the shame bubbling up is, who is this really serving? Like, is it serving
Exactly.
you, right? Like if you're in that space, or is it serving someone else or pacifying someone else or appeasing someone else, however you want to fill that in?
Exactly. We've got to become, this is I have a 5-week program that's called Reclaim Your Shameless, because it's even encoded into our language that we need a bit of shame in order to be a good girl or a good boy. You know, shameless, any other word in the English language that ends in LESS means you're free of that thing. But when we call someone shameless, it's a slur, it's an insult. And most of the time, those people are either acting out of repressed shame, you know, getting drunk and taking all their clothes off. So it's repressed, disconnected shame. Or also, we call people shameless as well when they are acting they're completely being themselves, because that triggers us, you know. Oh my God, but she's just being herself. She's just being totally authentic. And we're triggered by that. So most of the time when we call people shameless, it's not because they're free of shame. It's because it triggers something in us, and we want to shame them so that we can feel better, you know? And it's interesting to see how it's programmed in our very language. We're programmed to need shame. Oh, you have no shame, Natalie.
Right.
You know, this is an insult. It's an insult to have no shame. So we're linguistically programmed to feel that we need shame in order to be a good person. And it's a complete lie. It's a complete lie. It is a cultural implant, and it does nobody any good.
Yeah. So as we individually work through break or any type of system, I think even if you can take some of the break, some of the framework that you've put together and start to
Mm,
apply that, how can we continue to see this ripple? Because we've got a lot of unpacking that we need to do. We've started to talk about it. It's generational, right? It's not just during
yeah,
our time
yeah,
frame. And I
yeah.
know that I can see the things, how it popped up in my mom's life and her mom's life and what's fed it. But how can we continue to work through it? Because sitting on a sofa and talking to a therapist about it is not going to make it correct it. How do we truly start to see that progression? What do you envision there?
Well, recognizing it in therapy is good for recognizing it. So this is really good to see the
That's
patterns, to see how they're
yes.
playing out. It's really important. So that's important work as well. But then you've got to go back and kind of release those trauma triggers. And I work with
Yes.
people, energetically to do that. So you can find
Yes.
lots of different ways to kind of energetically work with your triggers so that you feel no shame. But like a huge part of it is recognizing, and this is the key. There are lots of people, I've been doing lots of podcasts, and many people have told me that just hearing this has been really empowering for them because it's not the common wisdom out there is that, this is your guidance, this is you. And when you recognize that it's not, that it's just a narcissist that you've internalized, it kind of gives you permission to not take on board what the BS that it's pushing on you, and you get to say no. You get to say, no, this is not mine. This belongs to my mother. This belongs
Yes.
to someone else. I'm not taking it on. It's like if I come to you, Pam, and say, you have disgusting purple hair. I hate your purple hair. It's so horrible. You're going to think I'm crazy. You're
Mm,
not going to be shamed like that.
yeah.
In order for you to experience shame, you need that narcissist in your ear saying, yeah, my hair looks really bad today. You need to agree in order to feel shame, or that narcissist needs to resonate. It's like a lock and a key. So somebody coming along and trying to shame you. I was talking to someone the other day, and when she was young, she was kind of on the fatter side, plumpy child, and some guy went up to her and her friend and said, "You shouldn't be eating the ice cream; it'll make you fat." And these girls, they laughed in his face. Can you imagine that? And that could have been so shaming. And
Yeah.
this is what we can do when we reclaim our shameless, ladies. We
Yeah.
reclaim our shameless. We don't we Someone brings us the shame gift and you say, "Not mine, take it back.
That's
Yeah.
It ain't
yours.
mine. That's
Yeah.
yours." Exactly. That's yours. We have to accept the gift. We have to
Mm.
agree and let it in. No, you take it, you want to insult me, take it back.
Yeah.
Right back at you. I ain't accepting your BS.
Yeah.
Mm.
And we just totally disarm it then. We break the cycle.
That's
And it's so important that we do this for the next generations as well coming up because if
Mhm.
you if you're carrying all the unprocessed trauma that you're carrying, it
Mhm.
doesn't just disappear, guys. It goes into your kids. It has nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
So you're doing this not just for you so that you can be happier and feel better in your skin. You're doing this for the next generations coming up. And that's why this work is so, so important, not just for you personally, but for everyone that you spend time with, particularly your kids.
yeah.
Because also you get to model this shamelessness when you disarm this shame, this shame body, this narcissist, that this inner narcissist, as I call it. You model that for other people, and they're like, wow, look at Pat, she's being so free of shame. She's just being herself. It's so cool. Nobody models that. Like, how many people do you see that are really authentically free of shame? It's very, very rare. People are always playing some kind of game, hiding, feeling like they have to shrink, feeling like they have to put up a front. True authenticity is really rare.
Yeah.
And people have shame attacks all the time, which just makes them shrink into something else.
Yeah.
So when you disarm this parasite, you fully take back your power, you fully own it again, and you ain't taking on nobody's shame.
I love that.
Wow.
You said release trauma triggers.
Yes.
How do you do that, or how do you recognize the trauma
Yeah.
that you may have that
Well,
generational?
Well, it's kind of it's either from your own childhood or it's intergenerational. So when you get triggered, start when you feel anger or emotion, like when someone says something to you and you feel anger, resentment coming up, that's a sign that it's a trigger, that you have some kind of wound under here.
Mhm.
And you can kind of look and see where it comes from. Like, what would I need to believe is true in order to feel this way? Or it's something that you can work through with a therapist or an energy worker to find out why you're taking it so personally.
Yeah.
And then you could, if you do enough of this releasing work, you start not those triggers, the same thing happens, and you're like, it's like water off a duck's back. It doesn't affect you anymore. You don't get angry about it anymore. People could be coming to you saying the same thing, and you're just like, okay, you're not taking those gifts anymore. You're
Mhm.
sending them back to the sender. You're not taking them inside you. And this is the power of working through those triggers. We can reclaim more and more of our authentic self as we do so.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And I'm
Love-
sure some of those triggers would pop up with that internal dialogue or the internal critic or the internal narcissist, however you
Oh
want
yeah.
to label it, right? It's that
Yeah.
chatter that pops up when you're by yourself or you're thinking about something that you've just experienced.
Yeah.
That is probably a great um uh like item for you to recognize some of that trauma as well, or a way for you to recognize that trauma.
Absolutely. And you can work through it yourself, or you can work through it with a therapist or someone who knows how to kind of dig in these things and find out where it comes from. A lot of the time it comes from childhood, things that have happened to us in childhood. And maybe you got shamed as a child, maybe you were told to be quiet and sit in the corner. And then when someone does it to you as an adult, you feel it triggers you.
Yeah.
You freeze, or you feel something, and maybe your reaction is more, it's a slight overreaction or big overreaction. That's a
Mhm.
sign that there's a trigger there that you can look at and dissolve, and gain. You can use these triggers as a resource. Triggers are a pain in the ass, don't get me wrong. It's not nice to be triggered. We've all been triggered. Well, I'm
Yep.
sure everyone, you're human if you've been triggered. I've been triggered enough.
Yeah.
But you can use those triggers as a resource to see, right, what's going on here? Why am I taking this so personally? What am I making this mean?
Yeah.
And when was the first time that I felt that way? And that's a way that you can kind of look into yourself, maybe as a child, that's some kind of echo. And that's very often what it is. It's some kind of echo from something that you felt as a child that you can bring up and resolve and rewire yourself to feel differently the next time it happens, or the next time that situation occurs. And it's so beautiful when that happens, because
Yeah.
you feel like you're really expanding. You feel like you can see real progression and growth, because you are actually responding differently to the same
Mhm.
circumstances where you would have been furious before. You're now able to breeze through it, and
Yeah.
that is spiritual growth in its highest form.
I feel like it's taking back control because I know
Exactly.
I'm tr-
Exactly.
it's like I lose control and it's like, oh,
Exactly.
I'm at,
Exactly. Perfectly said. When we get triggered, we lose control of ourselves, and these old programs come in and they're like, "Oh my God, you're a bad person," or whatever it says.
yeah.
Whatever that narcissist or the voice inside says, we start playing that game, and we're replaying something from the past. We're not in the present.
Yeah.
And when we work through that, we get to be present. We stay present through it, and nothing can pull us off center anymore.
Yeah. Love
I
it.
think that's being present is such a big piece as you talk about that, Emma. And when you look at like the release portion that you talk about, I think it's important for us to realize that it's not just simply forgetting or dismissing or
No,
shoving it under
no,
the rug, which
no.
my generation did really well. Just put that in the corner until we get back to
Oh
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Talk to us a little bit
yeah.
about the release. Like, what is that, setting the expectation for our listeners when they're releasing this trauma? What does that truly mean? Because you touched on it with the presence piece, but how it goes deeper than that.
Well, it's like the thing is, a lot of it is we resist the emotion.
Yes.
So when you get triggered to anger, right, you can ask yourself, and people can do this, you can do a certain amount yourself if you're not too triggered. If you're super triggered, it's really helpful to work with someone else to help you, but feel what the emotion is underneath it, because there's something that you'll be resisting or trying to not feel. So just let it feel the, and don't try to resist it. Don't try to shout at anyone. Just, wow, this anger and what's underneath the anger. Maybe there's some sadness, and just allow yourself to feel it.
Mm.
And when I work with people, and there are many ways to do this, but people feel lighter. People start getting ideas. I mean, I was working with an artist several years ago, and after we cleared a lot of stuff that he was carrying, just a lot of shame stuff actually. We both actually got this idea that he needed to make a phone call to a woman, and he was like, "Yeah, I know who that is." And he agreed to do it after the session, straight after the session, and helped him release some of the fears that he had around taking that action. And when he phoned that woman, he got an art exhibition set up. So who knows what opportunities could have come from that. And he also sold a piece of art from that one phone call.
Wow.
So this is when we release this shit, basically, it's shit. It's like
Mhm.
BS that we're carrying, weight that's weighing us down, emotional baggage. When we release it, we feel lighter. We start getting the messages that have been trying to get through, but this fear and this anger and these triggers have been in the way. So they start getting through. Wow, I need to phone this person. I need to take that action. I need to phone this person. We feel like we can do it. And this is really we get people get inspired to take action, and they do it from an energy of joy. So people usually feel lighter when I work with them. They start getting ideas about what to do. They start, they just sometimes people see things more clearly physically. They feel like their eyes are more open or the colors are more vivid because we've been blinded by all this BS or this emotional baggage that they've been carrying around all their lives. And all that time they thought it was them, but it's not you. It's like we're taking on all these rocks and all this baggage. We're carrying it for other people, particularly if you're the sensitive type. That's what we do. I'm an empath, so that's how I ended up so messed up, because I was taking on other people's stuff and I didn't know the difference between my stuff and other people's stuff. So I ended up in real loops, self-defeating loops. So this is the power of releasing, and
Yeah.
it's so beautiful. And just allowing yourself to feel those feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that. And I've heard that so many times. We get so in our head, we can talk ourselves through any situation instead of allowing ourselves to sit in that feel, like you said, sit in whatever that feeling is that's behind that trigger. Because that's the only way
Yeah,
to process through it. Otherwise, all we're doing is talking ourselves through it, but we're just hiding, we're just shoving it back, and it's never going to be good.
exactly.
Ah,
Exactly. So it's about feeling it to healing it. But you don't want to feel shame. That's the one caveat. Don't feel shame because there's nothing under shame.
yeah.
Shame is just more shame. Disconnect the shame. But yes, the fear, the anger, the frustration, there's something else underneath that needs to be looked at. There's maybe like a little child who's feeling sad, that we can use that trigger to heal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't shame yourself for feeling the feelings. Like
Yeah.
that's a piece
No,
that
Yeah.
I you
Yeah.
could
no,
get
no,
to as
no,
well,
no.
right? Like why would you get
Absolutely.
so upset about this? Just let it go. And then
Oh,
you
girl, you're
you kind of
fine.
talk yourself out of being with those feelings in that moment.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why shame is a trap,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because it traps us from every single angle. You shouldn't be like this. You shouldn't be like that. It's full of shoulds and invalidation.
Yeah.
You want to validate the feeling. So it's okay to be angry. That was a bad thing that happened to you, and that would have affected anyone. But what people tend to do, and also people in spiritual communities, they tend to kind of gaslight you and say, "Oh, that didn't happen at all." Rather than validating your pain, you've got to validate yourself,
Hmm.
validate your pain. That was painful. That was hard what your dad said to you. That was painful, and that's okay. You need to accept that and validate that inner child's pain
Yeah.
before you can start releasing the wound that's underneath it. You can't skip to that. And
Mhm.
that's what a lot of, spiritual bypassing. They're just like, "Oh, just forgive. Just
Hmm.
forgive your mother. Just forgive your abuser." No, no, you get to feel and process through it. And when you've been, abused invisibly like me, or more overtly like with the narcissistic abuse, there is a whole process. There is a grief process for the life that you never lived, because you weren't supported as a child the way that you could have been to be the person that you could have been. There's also rage. There's also rage that comes up because there's a part of you that's really angry for not for being for not being allowed to be you, for being shamed to be someone else for someone else's comfort.
Hmm.
Wow.
That's huge.
Mhm.
Emma, you spoke a little bit about the training that you do. If individuals are interested in working with you, talk to us a little bit about how someone can work with you and what different spaces you're in right now.
Well, I have a 5 week program, which is called Reclaim Your Shameless, or Not Today, Bitch. And it's a 5 week container working with other people, which is really powerful, working with other women. So it's a small container at the moment where we really work through these shame triggers and also practice this not taking the break process, really when shame attacks. And it's like a shame attack. I don't know if you've ever had a shame attack. I've had several, you
Mhm.
know, and it feels so you learn how to disarm that before it even starts. So, and you practice it because it's a practice.
Mhm.
And through the group, we really raise each other up, and I work with the group and work with individuals in the group. So it's a small, really powerful container where we really support and rise together to reclaim our shameless, to live shamelessly, not in the sense of behaving badly, but in the sense of just living free of shame, because that is the way we're supposed to live. We're not supposed to be shaming ourselves, and we're not supposed to be taking in the shame from other people. This is the lie that we've been fed, and that it's time to let it go now. We don't need shame to be a good person. We do not need shame. We need empathy. We need love. So with the groups that I work with, we practice those skills.
And
Love
is
that.
this in person? Is it virtual or how is that?
This is virtual at the moment. Yeah, I am planning on running retreats in the future, but because I feel like this is such an important thing. And also being with people in person is really beautiful for people, particularly if they've felt scapegoated or invisible growing up, because many people who have really internalized shame badly, they were invisible as a child. Their needs weren't important to even be considered by their family of origin. And our families can be abusive. That's the fact. Parents parents are living in trauma, maybe have a lot of trauma. That doesn't excuse them from their part, but we can disconnect. And that's the beautiful thing that we can do here and now. We can recognize that what happened was not your fault and that it did happen, and we don't have to live from that place anymore. We can start a new chapter, and we can be the best version of ourselves starting right now, where we are living shamelessly, empowered, joyfully, authentically, and not taking on other people's BS anymore.
Nice. I love it.
I
Mm.
love that. I think that's a great reminder, because this is work that you can do whatever season or phase that you're in life, right? Like once you have that realization and you're wanting to do that work, recognizing what has happened, taking ownership for where you are, and then realizing that you have control of where you're going.
Yeah.
Exactly. Your parents are the people who abused you in the past. You internalize that abuser, and that's why you continue to spiral.
Yeah.
And you know what? The gasoline that keeps that trauma burning, it's shame. Now
Mm.
think of animals. They experience traumatic situations, but they
Yes.
don't have shame. They don't
Mm-mm.
have shame. They shake, if you've seen a duck or something that gets into a fight, they shake it off.
Yeah.
They literally shake off that trauma. They're not thinking 5 years later, oh my God, that fight with that other duck over there,
Oh,
This is insane, but as humans, we do this. And shame is the gasoline that keeps that trauma burning. So when we disarm shame, we stop that trauma from recycling and reliving and rebirthing itself in us and in our children.
Mm. Powerful.
it is. Absolutely. Emma, do you have any words of advice or additional wisdom that you want to share with our listeners that we haven't touched on so far today?
No, I would just love to reiterate that if you have one takeaway from this, this voice inside your head, it's not you. It's not trying to protect you. It's not your friend. It's actually trying to destroy you, okay? So you don't owe it shit. You don't owe it shit. You owe it nothing. You don't owe it politeness. You don't owe it anything. And you can say no to it. You can tell it to F off. You take back your power. It's nothing without you. It's a parasite. It's a shell. It's a ghost. It's a light bulb that gets all its energy and supply from you. And you can cut that off now with one decision.
Love this.
That's awesome. That is so awesome. Thank you, Emma. I feel like if there is a spot for us to land, that's one key thing that everyone can remember and walk away with. Stick that in your toolkit.
Yeah. I have a free gift for people.
Yes.
So people are like raising their hands.
Yes.
This is 5 signs that it's time to break up with your inner narcissist.
Ooh.
So if you're like, oh, I have this thing, this voice inside my head, it's really bad, it shames me. Okay, this is 5 signs that it's time to break up with this thing. And it also has steps about how to make that happen. So this you can pick that up at tinyurl.com/not-today-narc, NARC, not today narc. And you can pick it up there. And also connect me, send me a message. I would love to hear how you found this, if this inspired you or uplifted me. Send me a message on all the social medias. I'm trauma.matrix, so you can find me there.
Love that. Thank you for offering that to the listeners. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
That internal narcissist. Oh, that gaslights us so much. Like, as you say it, I just think about all of the internal dialogue that I have. That's just like, it's keeping me safe. It's keeping me, whatever. Fill in the blank of gaslights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're told to sit down and take this thing to therapy. We don't have to do that anymore.
No,
it cannot be therapized with. You just need to evict it. You evict the narcissist. You don't negotiate with it. You get it out.
Evict the narcissist. I love that.
Kicking them out and taking.
Yes. Take back your power. Take back control. Yes.
Love it.
I know. I feel like the course that you have, the not today, bitch. Yep, not today. Not today. We're not doing it. Oh my gosh,
today, bitch.
Exactly. Emma, this has been so lovely. So thank you for joining us. And we will make sure that we drop the link in the show notes as well, so people can click through on the show notes and get that free resource. Thank you so much for sharing that. This has been fabulous.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, ladies. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll make sure that we put your contact information in the show notes as well, so that folks can connect with you on social media. And for our listeners, you all know, if you're looking to learn more about what's happening in the world of Reignite Resilience, head on over to reigniteresilience.com. Until next time, we'll see you all soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.